Division. I also would like to extend a warm welcome to Shri Puneet Agarwal ji, Principal Secretary, Tripura, and all other participants. Today what we are going to do is, I'm going to brief you on how we are going to conduct two events which are lined up for the state of Tripura. First is going to be a tabletop exercise on the 18th of October, followed by a physical mock exercise on the 20th of October. Okay, so over to I will now switch on my presentation. This presentation will be shared with you all. I will request that in case the departmental heads or the DCs are not present, the nodal officers who are present from the districts or the department should brief their departmental heads and DCs in detail so that we are ready and we take maximum advantage of this event. Share kar do presentation. Okay, now actually when we say a mock exercise, you must understand an exercise is an event which is to validate our preparedness, and as such it should be actually conducted with minimal notice or actually a surprise exercise. However, due to administrative constraints and so many other issues, we just noticed that today, while we have planned this coordinating conference, suddenly some event has come up and the entire state administration has got busy with that. So as a result of this constraint, we do plan mock exercises with detailed coordination thereof in advance. And the aim, of course, of the mock exercise, besides validation now, is primary aim remains to the primary aim remains to improve our disaster response system and it's learning oriented. So we will be conducting this mock exercise more as a staged and a planned event. Unlike a disaster which will suddenly strike you and you will not have the warning and the benefit of the preparation that we are doing for this mock exercise. For today's coordinating conference, the agenda I've flashed in front of you. Please go through it. So while we discuss how the mock exercise and the tabletop exercise are to be conducted, we will also finalize with you what are the kind of simulations we expect to be staged at each of the districts and what all preparations are to be done for this. And on the termination of the conference, like I mentioned once again, the concerned departmental heads and DCs must be briefed. And also, I would request the state to issue a curtain raiser to the media about the impending mock exercise on the 20th of October. Now, coming to the broad program, 18th we have the tabletop exercise, which is primarily going to be after the opening formalities, presentation of certain disaster management plans by nominated stakeholders, and thereafter a tabletop exercise in which I will paint certain scenarios and disaster managers are expected to react to these scenarios. These scenarios will be akin to what is going to be played during the mock exercise on 20th of October. We have given 19th October as preparation time for the state and the districts wherein the simulation sites will be prepared and also the EOCs, incident response teams and IRS facilities, etc. will be activated as also a communication check will be carried out. Now coming to each of these events in detail, Firstly, the tabletop exercise on 18th of October. So the main aim of this tabletop exercise, which we will conduct from 10 o'clock on the 18th to 13:30 hours, is to exercise and rehearse the important disaster managers in their roles and responsibilities so that they are fully ready to take part in the impending mock exercise on 20th. We will also, this tabletop exercise will also help you discern if there are any gaps in your preparation of mock exercise and prepare and evolve viable action plans for the mock exercise on 20th. Now, for the mock exercise, we are going to play the earthquake hazard. And I will briefly recapitulate the broad hazard parameters as far as the state of Tripura is concerned. You are all aware that our state of Tripura falls in the very high seismic hazard zone, and the entire stone is, in zone 5 as classified by the Bureau of Indian Standards. The scenario we are going to paint for the tabletop exercise and the mock exercise, please understand it is a hypothetical situation and it is not really a prediction. So don't take it as something that will happen, but it will help us prepare and validate our uh, readiness to combat an earthquake situation. We are aware of the fault lines that run through the region, and the basic fault line that affects the northeast is the Doki fault, which is running towards the north of Tripura, and the Madhapur fault, which is running through Bangladesh. Uh, Present seismic activity, because of the orientation of this fault, is mostly confined to north and northeastern parts of Tripura. The other aspect that is important when we look at the impact of earthquake is, besides the existing faults, what is the peak ground acceleration that is likely to take place? And so therefore, analysis of that, a PGA analysis. What is the population density in the affected areas? What is the structural strength of the houses, etc.? A combination of these factors will tell you what is the likelihood and severity of the hazard risk and what is the likelihood of damage to property and human loss of life. Now, when we come to specific hazard assessment based on these parameters, as far as Tripura is concerned, the hazard level is maximum in the northern part and the northeastern part of Tripura. And therefore, Khowai, Dhalai, North Tripura, and Unakoti district, some parts, these are actually the very high risk zones of the state. And the risk gradually reduces as we go downwards towards the south of the state. Now, if you see the peak ground acceleration analysis, which is shown on the uh, map on the right, the red area, which is shown, that is the area where the PGA is between 4.5 to 5. What does this indicate? It indicates that there is a likelihood of an earthquake of magnitude 7 to 8 occurring in a span of 100 years. And the probability of this is 10 out of 100, that means 10%, which is a pretty high probability. So, based on this microzonation, based on this also, microzonation study has been carried out of Agartala, and microzonation of Agartala suggests that the central part of the city is actually more vulnerable. So, these are important parameters for us to prepare for an earthquake scenario. And our scenario for the earthquake has accordingly been painted based on these parameters. So what we will be playing on for the mock exercise and the tabletop exercise is an earthquake of 7.2 magnitude, which has taken place somewhere to the northwest of Dhalai and east of Agartala. And this has taken place on the morning of E-Day, E-Day being the earthquake day. And after the earthquake takes place, various actions that the state is required to take in terms of convening the SCOC, informing other stakeholders, activating the IRTs and DOCs and the SEOC, etc., all that will commence. So this is the broad scenario on based on which the tabletop and the mock exercise will be played. Translating this into language, so a 7.2 earthquake, entire state, especially northern areas of Tripura, are badly affected. Widespread destruction, government and private buildings affected. Many have developed deep cracks, damaged. Landslides have been triggered. Fire breaks have taken place because of the secondary effect of the earthquake. Large number of injured people, because of which capacities of the existing capacities of hospitals, etc., have been overwhelmed. Now, because of the earthquake taking place, your planned staging areas, relief camp, and other IRS infrastructure needs to be activated earliest. The SCOC and the DOC need to take charge of the situation, and the incident command posts are to be established as per requirement. Now, when we come to the tabletop exercise, based on this scenario, we will start at 10 o'clock. Between 10 to 10:15, we will have opening remarks, both from the state and from the member NDMA at New Delhi. The member NDMA would be participating online. The rest of us will be participating to the maximum extent possible at the state headquarters, SEOC, and those from the districts will join in online, as also certain central observers like NCS, etc. From 10:15 to 10:55, we will have certain disaster management plans presented. Now, only nominated departments will present these plans. I will come to this aspect a little later. From 11 to 13:15 hours, that is 1:15 in the afternoon, we will uh, paint certain scenarios, and the disaster managers will react to these scenarios. And after this, we will finish the tabletop exercise, and we will take half an hour to complete the final coordination for the mock exercise, which is to be conducted on 20th. Now, when we talk of presentation of the disaster management plans, which I mentioned from 10:15 to 10:55 hours, the plans are going to be presented by four agencies. Firstly, by the SDMA, wherein they will present their plan at the state level, then the plan by one of the selected districts, and two nominated departments. कितनी देर हो गया? Can you hear me, SDMA? I believe you got disconnected. Sharad ji, can you hear me? Huh? Tell them बाकी लोग सब हैं. DM Northpura, Sabujala. Right, for those of you who are listening in, we will take a small pause over here because the state headquarters has got disconnected. So we'll just take a pause for them to connect again before I resume. Saraj ji, can you hear me?
सरज जी आपके यहाँ से इको आ रही है, आपका शायद माइक ऑन है। सरज जी अभी आप सुन रहे हैं? आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है सरज जी, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
If you can hear us, please raise your hand. All right. अभी कोई कंटेंट लोड करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, प्लीज कोई और कंटेंट लोड करने की कोशिश मत करें, बिकॉज और किसी का प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं दिखाया जाएगा आज। अच्छा, did you hear the टेबल टॉप एक्सरसाइज का ब्रॉड शेड्यूल क्या है, वो आपने समझ लिया था, वहां तक सुन लिया था? अगर सुन लिया तो हाथ उठाइए प्लीज। राइट, ओके, आई विल प्रोसीड फ्रॉम देयर देन। Okay, so we will continue. Like I mentioned, tabletop exercise में शुरू में we will cover presentations, certain presentations by nominated departments, the SDMA and one nominated district. इसमें I will like to stress here, all districts and all departments of the state to be ready with their presentations. मैं फिर से दोहराऊंगा, सारे 8 के 8 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स और सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स अपनी प्रेजेंटेशंस तैयार रखेंगे। उस टाइम बताया जाएगा कि आप में से कौन से डिपार्टमेंट हैं और कौन सा एक सिलेक्टेड डिस्ट्रिक्ट है which is going to make the presentation at that point of time. Now when you make the presentation, there is a few important points. हमने देखा है कि भाई जब हम प्रेजेंटेशन करते हैं तो आपको 8 से 10 मिनट मिलेंगे प्रेजेंटेशन पर, जो प्रेजेंट करते हैं वो इनवेरिएबली अपना टाइम एक्सीड कर देते हैं। सो वी आर वेरी शॉर्ट ऑफ टाइम, प्लीज स्टिक टू योर 8 to 10 minutes. please restrict your presentations to only 6 to 7 slides each. Also, when you give your disaster management plan, please restrict to only earthquake. आपने फ्लड्स में क्या करने का प्लान किया है और किसी कंटिजेंसी में क्या प्लान करने का सोचा हुआ है, वो सब हम इस एक्सरसाइज में नहीं डिस्कस करेंगे. So please restrict your presentation only to earthquakes. No theory. We will, our plan is in 7 parts. Part 1 is this, part 2 this, part 3 this. Not required, please. We don't have the time. Just say, in case of an earthquake, this is the kind of contingency you are expecting. These are the kind of resources and facilities which are available to you in terms of response. अगर आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पावर डिपार्टमेंट में हैं तो हमारे पास इतनी टीम्स अवेलेबल हैं पावर रिस्टोर करने के लिए, इतने पोल्स, इतने ट्रांसफार्मर्स, ये सब रिसोर्सेज हमारे पास ये स्टेट में इन जगह पे लोकेटेड हैं, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. देन व्हाट इज द वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो ऑफ डैमेज मींस, अगर खराब से खराब, अगर बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग अर्थक्वेक आ गया आपकी स्टेट में, तो कितनी ज्यादा से ज्यादा डैमेज हो सकती है, तो उसकी कुछ मॉडलिंग वगैरह हुई होनी चाहिए. या आप पुराना कोई इवेंट ले सकते हैं जिसके ऊपर आप मॉडलिंग करके अपने हाउसेस के स्ट्रक्चर्स वगैरह कैसे हैं, पॉपुलेशन क्या है, कौन सा एरिया ज़्यादा वनरेबल है, उसके बेसिस पे आप मॉडलिंग करके डैमेज और कैजुअलिटीज का एस्टिमेशन किया जाएगा. सो दैट मस्ट बी गिवन. What is the damage and more casualties? If a medical department is giving the plan, they will cover. All right, we expect in the complete state of Tripura so many casualties taking place, so many people getting injured, so many people becoming homeless, etc. So to deal with those, are you capable of dealing with them? What is your plan to deal with so many injured people? This is what, for example, medical plan. अगर आपका इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिपार्टमेंट का प्लान है तो हमारी 10% जो है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पोल गिर जाएंगे, 15% ट्रांसफार्मर खराब हो सकते हैं, ये हो सकता है, वो हो सकता है, उनको रिस्टोर करने के लिए आपका क्या प्लान है, प्रायोरिटी कहां पे लगाएंगे, टीम्स कहां पे आ रही हैं, वगैरह वगैरह. जो आपका शॉर्टफॉल है, कभी भी डिजास्टर होगा, योर रिसोर्सेज आर नेवर गोइंग टू बी एडिक्वेट, देयर इज ऑलवेज बी अ शॉर्टफॉल. How are you planning to make up this shortfall? So that must also be a part of your disaster management plan. And finally, when the resources are limited, you have to apply them in a prioritized manner. Some place will be given priority 1, then 2, then 3. So how are you going to prioritize your resources? So please cover these aspects only in your disaster management plans and presentations of 10 minutes each. Now we come to the conduct of the mock exercise. Like I mentioned, 18th is the tabletop exercise, 19th is preparation time for you, and then on 20th we have the mock exercise. So before we embark on the mock exercise, there are certain preparations that should have been carried out by the districts and the state. Please make use of this opportunity of the mock exercise to take stock of your readiness and what all you need to do so that you are fully ready to take care of an earthquake disaster. The first and most important thing is you have to check whether your disaster management plans are being updated. If not, what is the progress, and speed up the progress. I'm aware that the state disaster management plan is of only of 16-17 vintage at present, and it is in the process of being updated. So do look at updating the important parts at least. You know, things like your contact lists, etc. I find that in your disaster management plans, the contact lists mentioned are obviously they are outdated. So at least contact lists to आप update कर लीजिए. Please ensure all your departments have a departmental disaster management plan. The next is check. This is the time you can check progress on your various mitigation works. as far as earthquake is concerned, whether you have regulations in place for buildings, etc., projects for ensuring slope stability and reinforcement, building resilience, certain buildings which are being strengthened, etc. What is the progress being which has happened on that? And finally, training, of artisans, engineers, etc., for creating earthquake resilience in the state. So these are some of the issues which you should look at now and use this opportunity. And of course, the coordination of response between various agencies that are responsible for responding to an earthquake. The second thing that you need to prepare now and look at is your resource inventories. You need to update them. And the critical resources, especially, please carry out a check whether they are functional or not. So, in the critical resources, the important ones are your drones, your radios, satellite phones, etc. Your availability of maps, satellite imagery, GIS platforms at your EOCs. So, check availability and functionality. When you have an earthquake, the first casualty is going to be your mobile communications. So you need to be able to create and function on a standalone disaster management network, communication network, which is based on radio communication and satellite communication. So please confirm now that this standalone disaster management network is there. Have you issued communication instructions? So mostly this communication network is going to be placed on the police radio network. So communication instructions to convert a part of the police radio network into a disaster management earthquake network. Communication check to ensure that all stakeholders, all disaster management functionaries are connected on this radio network. This radio network will also include handheld radios. Then your ILTs would need to be mobilized, as also your search and rescue resources for the mock exercise. So you can practice all this in the interim period. You have 1 week. All EOCs have to be fully functional. So this is the time you must check that whether their functionality wise they are okay or not. This includes business continuity for 6 to 7 days, logistic aspects, etc. Monitoring of various websites, the use of Ndma especially is something that I find is neglected in most states. And radio broadcast facility is very important. uh, Radio broadcast facility is basically that whatever is communications are taking place on the radio set between two people, between two entities, they are broadcast in the EOC so that everyone can hear what is happening on the radio set. So everyone is in picture what is happening. Wireless sets and radio healers, they check that they are functional, they are usable. Wireless sets, to use them require certain practice and training. Please ensure that is done. Siren systems should be functional. This is the time you should also launch an awareness campaign in conjunction with your SDRF, NDRF, other agencies, as far as earthquake awareness in the society is concerned. Coordination with response agencies I mentioned. So coordination with the Army, NDRF, and other agencies is also very important. So please do this coordination now, especially with the armed forces. You should know what facilities and what resources can they provide you in case of an earthquake, and who is the contact person, where are they going to come, what help will they need, etc. And to this extent, it's very important that you should have conducted regular civil military liaison conferences, not only with armed forces, but also with the central armed police forces. So, has this been done? Please check. If not, this must be done, or at least some coordination carried out, and the resources available with all these agencies mapped. So, do take note of this preparatory activities. If you do them, only then will be able to do a successful mock exercise. Now, when it comes to the conduct of the mock exercise, the primarily action that is required of the Tripura SDMA and the DDMAs is that in each district, 5 sites will be selected for mock actions. So what we will do in the mock exercise is once an earthquake says, we will activate 5 sites and we will just see how search and rescue and various other operations are carried out. So as far as search and rescue and relief are concerned, one school, one government office and one residential each will be selected in each of the participating districts. That means all 8 districts. Then one hospital will be selected and one industry, bridge, dam, mall, market area, any of these based on the availability and it's up to the SDM and the DDMA to decide. You will select these. I am aware that Tripura does not have too many industries, but if you can select one industrial site where possibility of damage of earthquake due to earthquake is there and specialized response is required, then we would get the NDRF to use their specialized team to respond in that area. Now, once you select these 5 sites, the site name, its coordinates, and the in charge officer of each of these sites should be intimated to me. I've written fourth actually, by 14th October, please. So by 14th October, we need these details. So next 2 days, please finalize these sites. Now, in charge officer for each of these sites. This is very important because this officer who is in charge of these sites, he will ensure that whatever uh, mock activities are to be taking place at the site, whatever resources are to be used for generating this mock action, those are available and these mock actions take place. So it is the responsibility of the in charge officer to do this. So please nominate a suitable officer for each of these sites. Please note that each of at the vicinity of each of the search and rescue sites, an incident command post and medical aid post will be set up. Additional district-wise details we need. I have given over here the details of say the one of the districts, and I have taken Tawang here. So we will need what is your staging area, including the alternate staging area. Because in case the staging area itself is damaged, that location is unusable because of the earthquake, then you will need an alternate staging area. Similarly, the incident command post location, the helipad oblique helibase location in that district, medical aid post location, and a camp for responders. So all these locations to be shared, again to be compiled and shared with the SDMA and with me. Now, when we conduct this mock exercise, it's very important that we ensure that safety and convenience of the civil population is not compromised. So, the first and most important thing is no student or civilian will be involved in any activity for simulation of any activity which involves risk of injury. For example, if you're showing rescue from a high-rise building or even any building, or simulated fire and people being rescued from there, etc. Please use only your trained people. It could be your SDRF, your fire and emergency services, or NDRF people who will be used for these situations. That's it. No one else. Avoid any undue risky simulations. We are here to learn. Little bit of showmanship is there, but not unnecessary risk, please. You also, wherever you need volunteers for role playing of injured, death, etc., for evacuation, this is the time you should use your civil defense and home guard volunteers. They are the best used. And the last thing is when you select your sites for simulation, try and see that the inconvenience to people in terms of disruption of traffic, etc., is minimal. For that, you will have to make arrangements in advance, and also that is the reason why I said issue a curtain raiser today, so that people are aware this event is going to take place, and accordingly they avoid going to these areas if possible during the uh, time of the conduct of the mock exercise. Now, when we conduct the mock exercise, I will briefly go over the sequence of actions that will be taking place. So, firstly, the mock exercise will be conducted in all districts simultaneously. I say again, simultaneously in all districts. So before we start the mock exercise, certain actions are to be taken. And the most important action is, I said uh, uh, that independent observers are going to be there at each of these simulation sites. So each of these independent observers will be given their assessment forms. These assessment forms uh, format and its layout is going to be shared with me today. The state and the districts must print these and share it and give a copy of these to the observers before they leave for the simulation site. And they should be present at the simulation site before the start of the mock exercise, which is at 9 a.m. All stakeholders will fill self-assessment forms. Again, I will give you the format of that self-assessment forms. The state and the district disaster management authorities will ensure that these are issued to all. Now, once the mock exercise start, the first mock exercises it will be start by us telling you that an earthquake is taking place. I will inform you. So this will be around 9 o'clock or so and at that point of time, your all offices are functional. You are in your offices. So the moment that starts, the first action, of course, is to do a business continuity check as far as the DOCs and SEOCs are concerned. And thereafter, once that is done, actions will be taken by the stakeholders as per the incident response system, wherein the incident command posts, which are uh, already been decided and the simulation sites decided, they will be activated. Your staging areas, relief camps for evacuees, medical posts, aid posts, etc., which you've already earmarked and set up on the 19th, they will also be activated, and the search and rescue actions will commence along with evacuation of casualties to the earmarked hospital. Special response as far as the NDRF is concerned, along with dovetailing of NGOs and other elements like Abda Mitras, etc., into response will also take place. And when all this action is taking place, we will have a certain WhatsApp group. One WhatsApp group I have mentioned already is there in the instructions is for the state level, and another WhatsApp group will be created as far as the observers are concerned. So on this, uh, photos and videos will be uploaded as far as the action is concerned by the observers, and also we will be all connected through video conferencing. So the DOCs and from the sites where the simulation is taking place, we can upload live stream videos onto the video conferencing for everyone to see. Finally, once the exercise is culminated, we will carry out physical debriefing oblique video conferencing. As far as all those located close to state headquarters are concerned, they are going to fall back to the state headquarters, and the other observers will fall back to the DOC, and then we will conduct a video conferencing for the debriefing. Now, the detailed program for 20th. So 9 o'clock, initial state when we start at 9 o'clock is the incident response system has been activated, your facilities have been created, and the EOCs are functional, and the observers are in location. This is at 9 o'clock on 20th. Thereafter, at 9 o'clock, an earthquake alert is given, and you will immediately do your actions of duck, cover, hold, etc., and do your business continuity check. Warnings, people warning in terms of using sirens, etc. All that will be done. Then from 9 to 10 o'clock, that's the time the switch from your mobile to wireless communications will take place. No mobile communications will be allowed. And this is the time the districts and the state will go about building situational awareness. What has happened? Where has it happened? Where is the biggest problem? Where is the damage taking place, etc. So the situational awareness will be created. You will do a situational update over there in the SEOC as also in the DOCs, which will be shown to us on video conferencing, and of course in the SEOC I will be there myself. And thereafter a review situation will be done, and then you will prepare your incident action plan based on the situational update. From 10 o'clock to 10:30, the initial response will be activated. So immediately when an earthquake takes place, the SDRF, NDRF, and all these people are not there on the scene, or the armed forces or the SCAPF. It is basically your civil defense and home guard volunteers and Abda Mitras and other volunteers which are there, who are located in the community. These are the people who are going to respond, along with the emergency support function quick reaction teams. So this is the initial response which will be activated from 10 to 10:30, and at the same time the rest of the responders will start building up in the staging area. From 10:30 onwards will be your actual response in terms of your task forces, etc., moving out from the staging areas, going to the simulation sites, critical area access being restored, etc. So all these actions will take place from 10:30 to 13:30 onwards. And at this point of time, after seeing certain initial response and painting certain situations to you, the NDMA team, including me, we will move out physically. And in this case, obviously, we will move out to the facilities located in the vicinity of Agartala to have a look at your staging area on ground, the relief camp that you have created on ground, and also the hospital, one major hospital, how has it been geared up to take care of casualties. So these 3 or 4 sites we will visit on ground along with the SDMA officials to take stock of how actions are taking place on ground. After this, we will terminate the mock exercise physically, and then everyone falls back to the SEOC or the DOC, and then we'll have a debriefing uh, followed by a media briefing. Now, this media briefing is not for the actual media, that you can do separately. This is basically to exercise your PR department in preparation of a proper media briefing, because media briefing is a very important part of disaster management. Now, these are the aspects we will be validating during the mock exercise. What are your warning system, alert protocols? How are messages going down, to last mile? EOC functioning and communication, very important. Ability to build situational awareness. How do you allocate resources based on situational awareness? Uh, Responders, the aggregation, your IRS facilities have been suitably sited and activated. Composition of IITs, hospitals, their ability to cope with casualties, has surge capacity been created, emergency rebuilding, disaster management reserves held by each department, are they adequate? Have they been suitably disposed on ground? Emergency support functions, including response and restoration, and your ability to receive assistance and aid through road and air. Air assistance is very important for our state. We are all aware how communications wise we are handicapped, and we are located at the extreme edge of the country. Everything coming by road or by rail takes, there are bottlenecks and there are a lot of issues. So air sustenance is going to be very important as far as our state is concerned. Now, the summary of broad simulations expected at each site. I will just go through in each of these, and then for each site what we are looking at, I have tabulated for you. I will explain one, then I will rush through the rest of them because it's all going to be there with you. Now it is the responsibility of the officer in charge of the simulation site to ensure that this all these action is taking place, and of course the district headquarters to ensure to monitor and confirm. Now, as far as school, government, and residential areas are concerned, where we are going to do search and rescue actions. The first action of obviously is duck cover hold, then your assessment of damage and reporting it up the chain. Once it's reported, how is the response activated? How is it adequate? Does it arrive in time? Are the people suitably briefed? Thereafter, reaching there, they will do their search and rescue, including evacuation, and then the restoration activities. As far as the hospital is concerned, each hospital is supposed to have its own disaster management plan. So we look at the activation of the disaster management plan, including search, building of search capacity, uh, damage, if any, situation may be painted that part of the hospital is damaged. How do you restore the lost treatment capacity? And how do you take care of the people who are in the damaged portion? Where do you shift those patients? Or have you made a plan, etc.? All those things. Then, as far as the fifth bullet is concerned, when we looked at a bridge, dam, mall, market area, or some industry, we will look at firefighting and damage control, specialist response, especially in case of industry if required. How is it being done? What resources have been used, etc. So these are the simulations that are going to take place. Now, on notification, what will happen is, as far as the districts are concerned, once you are notified that an earthquake is taking place, that's the time the warning will be sounded on public address system, sirens, etc., and you do your cover hold. As far as SCOC and DOCs are concerned, again you will do the same thing. And initially, since if you are in the SCOC or DOC, everyone will move out. After the earthquake, initially we are all supposed to evacuate from the building after the duck cover hold. And once we are certain that the building is safe, then everyone moves in. So this action will be carried out in all the EOCs and DOCs and other such locations. And once that is be done, then the SOC and DOC start functioning to take charge of the situation in terms of switching to wireless communications, getting situational awareness, seeking information, etc., etc. And having got this information, then they will do their briefing, make the incident action plans and all that. Now, once the initial uh, earthquake actions have been taken, the first action that will be taken at the district and the state level is to clear access to critical facilities. So we will simulate this by moving just one, vehicle, heavy vehicle or a wheel dozer, etc., to some one critical facilities, and this can be decided by each district which critical facilities they are looking at. It could be a hospital, it could be secretariat, it could be a DOC itself. If the route to the DOC gets blocked, how do you function? So opening that access. And thereafter, the response action start taking place, wherein the responders are mobilized, and they all move to the community does the initial response, and the rest of them move to the staging area from where targeted and focused response activities take place. Now I said I've tabulated for you each of simulations at each of the 5 sites that are to be selected by the district. The first site I had mentioned is the school building. So in the school district, what are we going to simulate? We are going to simulate the students are trapped and staff are trapped in the school, and we are going to evacuate 15 people from this building. Now, these 15 people which are going to be evacuated from the building, if you are looking at rooftop evacuation, etc., the people there evacuated there are not going to be students. Please, you will have the fire and emergency services people or SDRF, some trained person, uh, you know, uh, depicting the students' evacuation and not the student. Then 10 first aid casualties to 10 people at the medical aid post, which is established in the vicinity of this search and rescue site. Triage, casualty evacuation in ambulances to hospital of 4 patients. Two fatal casualties, their evacuation and dead bodies, receipt of at the hospital, etc., all those things, and subsequently, of course, restoration of services at the school. So all these activities are to be simulated over a period. Uh, Actions are by the fire and emergency services, SDRF, NDRF. You could also have the CAPF, etc., functional. Now, I've listed out 15 people to evacuate. I've just given you a distribution, 7 from FENS and 8 from this. You can decide. The officer in charge of the simulation site, he will finalize this number. This is just a suggested number. The one on the left, 15, 10, etc., that you will do. How are you going to do? You can decide what your resources. I have just suggested to you what resources are to be used. So, in addition, there is going to be a fire which is going to be simulated, and therefore a fire engine and other elements will come in and douse the fire. That action will take place. When you are simulating a fire, you just need to put in, a few newspapers and rags and just light a very small fire. Nothing elaborate is required. That is enough. So we are just seeing the response and action. So please take note of this. I will reiterate, it is the officer in charge of the simulation site, his responsibility to ensure all this wherewithal is there. It is the incident commander and the task force commander at that place who will conduct the response as per this. So these are going to be two different people, officer in charge of the simulation site and the task force commander or the incident commander. They are different, who are going to actually execute the response on ground. Similarly, for the government building, I have listed out what is required to be done. And then for a hospital. Now, for the hospital is important. Traffic control is very important. You cannot have people, coming in. There are going to be hundreds of people who are going to coming in. So if you don't have proper traffic control, there's going to be chaos. That is one. Secondly, your emergency management has to be modified. Your normal emergency where people come in, you just have one counter or maybe two counters. People come in and they are managed. The emergency management area and facility will have to be expanded to cater for hundreds of people coming in together. And you will have to have a triaging facility there because some of the people who are coming may not have undergone triage. Those who have undergone triage, they are to be handled in a separate manner. Those who have not. So all this recording of the data of these people who are coming in, if you start working on a paper and pen using registers, it is not going to work. It has to be based on a computerized system, preferably an Excel, small Excel program. So please look at all these aspects, and we will be seeing this when we come to this hospital sites, and the observers will be also seeing this. Now, since the hospital capacities are likely to be overwhelmed, they must be able to create a surge capacity. So, for example, if a hospital has a capacity of 100 beds, in its disaster management plan, the hospital disaster, there should be a surge capacity creation provision, wherein say 10 extra beds are created or 15. How? Your say OPD areas, they are converted into open wards. where the less critically injured people can be treated and can be kept there. Or you could have uh, additional beds based on tentage being created. There are various ways of doing it, but it must be there in the plan, and this must be executed in the sense, at least if you have a capability of creating 30, 40 beds, you should create at least some number of beds. So we will be looking at about 10 additional beds being extra beds being created as part of surge capacity in each of these hospitals which are nominated. Now in the residential area, similarly, we've listed out what all actions are required to be done. Officer in charge, again to ensure, and the incident command post in incident commander, and the task force commander to ensure execution of these actions. If you can locate a high-rise building, do locate. And wherever high-rise building is there, your trained people of SDRF or the NDRF should be used for evacuation from a high-rise building. Industry bridge dam, similarly, we've listed out what is required to be done. Please go through in detail in your time. Now, at each of these sites, one of these sites, that means the bridge or your mall or a market high-rise building, etc., we will be having specialized rescue. So we will be looking at certain areas where we are looking at specialized rescues. So from rooftops, we've said 10 people. From the rivers, oblique areas where people have, the bridges have fallen or something like that, or people have got trapped, about 2 people to be rescued. This rescue need to be done by only trained people. So we can look at fire and emergency services and the NDRF and the SDRF doing this only. Please work it out. Please try and coordinate with the Army, Aviation, or the Air Force, or you could also use your civil helicopters, and do try and incorporate at least 1 or 2 actions wherein helicopter based rescue is being carried out as far as the disaster victims are concerned. If there are any issues regarding coordination with the Army Aviation, uh, uh, you can get back to me on this and we can facilitate it. We will try and facilitate it. Now, when we come to the incident response teams at the district level, so they must be activated as per the laid down structure, notified structure. That is one. The responsible officer, incident uh, the incident commander and the command and general staff must all be present at the EOCs initially. After that, the commander will move out to the incident command post. At each district, one staging area will be created, incident command post will be created, helibase, helipad will be activated, one relief camp will be created, and one camp for responders. In addition, not a high-risk facility, but like I mentioned, one hospital will be identified wherein it will be geared up to accepting additional uh, casualties, and we will be visiting that too. Now, staging area is very important. Our response is going to be as per the incident response system. Therefore, the initial response, which is by the community and the QRTs, is going to be at the site directly. But thereafter, your focus response is going to be from the staging area. So all responders, all resources will move to the staging area, and from there they will move in task forces to the designated simulation sites. So this action has to be ensured. So initial marshalling of source resources, etc., staging area. The staging area manager must be able to brief and must be in constant touch with the DOC and the incident commander, and also the RO regarding what resources are coming in, what are going out, etc., etc. Relief camp. So the relief camp must be able to accommodate minimum 50 persons. So do make out a relief camp accordingly. That is how it will be to be created. It must have separate area for women and children. There must be medical arrangements there. There must be food arrangements there, cooking arrangements, etc., etc. So all these things, it has to be appropriately cited. Uh, I have noticed in many cases the relief camp is located co-located with the staging area. Functionally, that is not possible because staging area is a place where a lot of responders are coming, going. There's a lot of activity taking place. If you through the same route you have a relief camp located inside, you will not be able to function properly. So please keep these aspects in mind. At the relief camp, you will also have water supply arrangements, portable toilets, medical arrangements, etc., etc. As media, I mentioned, do involve them so that people are aware that this event is taking place and issue a curtain raiser. Then on 18th and then on 20th, they can cover the events. Equipment wise, all these equipment that are required, whether it's fire engines, trucks, dozers, cranes, JCBs, etc., ambulances, everything, all manpower, everything will move to the staging area. And only from the staging area, once they come there, will they move to the designated simulation sites once the response action commences. One MAP per site must be created. Now, adequate buses, etc., must be there available for move for people to leave camp, etc. Electricity, sanitation arrangements, etc., must also be there too. Now, having covered the simulations, towards the last part, I will just cover the form as far as the self-assessment form is concerned, in which the name and designation of the stakeholder is given, what is his responsibility, or what job is he doing, etc. And then, whereas the observer is concerned, his name and number is concerned, and then the observer will give whatever his or her assessment is there. Now, regarding the use of this form, I will brief once again in detail after the tabletop exercise is completed on 18th. So all observers, they will be nominated by 14th by the districts, and the state will compile the list of all observers. They will take suitable names from the NDRF, the CAPF, and the armed forces to use as observers. And on the 18th, all these observers will come online and they will be briefed, if not physically present, they will be briefed by me on termination of the tabletop exercise. Self-assessment form, self-explanatory. Basically, we want from you what is your task and when did you receive orders to move, when did you carry out your task, any observations and suggestions that you have as far as learning, etc., is basically a feedback we need from you. And would you recommend in your suggestions? You can also recommend. Are there any changes or in conduct of methodology of the mock exercise, etc., that you feel would make it more effective? So, with this self-assessment form, the people who are with the task forces, the task force commanders basically, they will also fill a task force format. Now, coordination, signposting in media are a very important part too, because this exercise involves all agencies, whether the central or the state level. So, coordination is very important. Please complete this coordination by 16th of October, including use of aerial assets. Like I mentioned, if there are any issues, please revert back to me. List of observers, I had mentioned 14th to be ready. Please keep it ready at 14th, and by 18th, when I come there, these observers to be present online for briefing at the termination of the tabletop exercise. Coordination with NGOs is something I find has been lacking in most states. You must have a list of all NGOs, their representatives, what are their tasks they're going to do, and how you're going to involve them. And please get the NGO representatives to be present for the tabletop and mock exercises. Get them to be present. Only then will they be able to effectively contribute in terms of in case of a disaster. God forbid if it so happens. All incident response system facilities, EOCs, desks, etc., to have appropriate signboards, etc. In the EOC, people who are sitting, etc., they will have signboards in front indicating what appointment, etc., they are doing. If there is a monitoring station, which website, etc., is that being monitored there, etc. All appointments to wear armbands and these fluorescent jackets which disaster responders wear. These will be worn by all. Media coverage I had mentioned. Media briefing after mock exercise I had also mentioned earlier. Okay, now just to conclude, this is in visual terms what normally happens during mock exercise. So initial IIT this assembly at the EOC once the earthquake takes place. You this is a cramped EOC. However, you can see they still have those signs which are put in front. I, your aim should be to have a fully functional EOC which has adequate space. For each of the sections, there will be a separate place. So you can see at the back, you can see planning written, only a part of it written. So this is where the planning section is sitting there and working. Various boards are there, you can see at the back, wherein information is displayed, whiteboards are there, wherein updates can be written, etc. So all these actions to be done to make the EOCs functional. If you don't have too, if you have smaller rooms, then each of the sections can be given a smaller room to work on. The branch heads can sit at the branch heads can sit. Please meet yourself. बाकी लोग जो अपने आप बात मत कीजिए प्लीज. Now the staging area, it's very important that you have adequate space, etc. And this is how the assembly must take place as far as staging area is concerned. Different types of responders being given a different area, signboards being put up to indicate who's going to be there, an in gate, an out gate, etc. Recording of resources coming in, recording of resources going out, communications, all those aspects to be seen in the staging area. So initial response, damage assessment is thereafter carried out. Once the damage assessment is done, there is assessment of situation in the EOC, a briefing is carried out, and the incident action plan is prepared. So when you are doing your damage assessment, aerial survey, use of aerial survey, satellite imagery, etc. is extremely important. Please factor in and please actually do this in your mock exercise. Drones today are available quite easily. Your police department should be having drones. Please co-opt them for your disaster response as also situational awareness, and also use the civilian drones available. Photographers, etc., do have drones. Today, all events like marriages, etc., are covered by drones. So include these people. They must be co-opted in your disaster management plans. use of ham radios. National Institute of Amateur Radio has a website, etc. Please go over all these aspects and pay special attention to situational awareness. If you don't have situational awareness, then it is like firing an arrow in the dark when you do your response. Critical access clearance, I mentioned. So a team will go out, incident command post will be established close to the search and rescue sites. Your evacuation of casualties, etc., will take place. Search capacity I mentioned. So this is one example of how search capacity has been created. Relief camps and shelters are opened. We will be going there. Helicopters used if needed. Now, if you don't plan, this is a photograph of an actual relief camp. So you can see what chaos is there, and things have not been planned. But luckily, the country has moved way forward, and we look at a much more organized and a better relief camp being prepared during the mock exercise. With this, I come to the end of today's briefing on the conduct of this tabletop and mock exercise for the state. Should there be any questions? Please feel free to ask. So we will go to the districts first. Any questions from any of the districts, please? Anyone? I will take it. My presentation was very clear, and you have understood everything. And not that you have understood nothing. Therefore, there are no questions to ask. So I assume I am hoping is the former. Okay. Any questions or points or issues to be raised by the SDMA wants to raise? Mr. Sarkar, anything? Sorry. Mr. Sarath, anything?
शरद साहब कोई क्वेश्चन?
If you don't have any question, please raise your hand. Sarath साहब कोई question नहीं है तो अपना हाथ रेज कीजिए please. Please raise your hand. We can't hear you. Okay, fine. Anything from NDRF, please?
Actually, ESC भी लिख देना चाहिए था उसमें एयर हाँ म्यूट
Are you saying anything? First Battalion NDRF, आप कुछ बोल रहे हैं? Right, thank you. Right, thank you. So, okay, everyone, with this, we'll call off today's coordinating conference for the
I would
conduct
like to
of
step
this
in.
mock exercise.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Am I
please,
audible?
boliye. Please.
Good afternoon, Major General Pradeep Bahel Saab. I was Secretary Revenue. Sorry, I could not join this conference earlier because of there was some other engagement related to Honorable President visit. But I joined this conference in between, and I have seen the presentation made by you. I find in detail it has been explained to all the stakeholders, all districts, all paramilitary forces which are supposed to participate in this mock exercise, that how they have to use incident command system, incident response system for undertaking this mock exercise. Earlier also, we have conducted similar exercises in the past, and this time also, I'm hopeful that all districts will and all other stakeholders, including paramilitary forces and defense forces, would participate and make it a successful exercise. As we find with the development of technology, we are getting more facilities in terms of communication facilities, in terms of monitoring through drone. So all those techniques, to the extent possible, would be utilized during this mock exercise. And I'm hopeful that everything would went well, and districts have been sensitized on this disaster management aspect on a regular basis. In our monthly meeting also, we used to ask DMs and under them SDMs to conduct mock drill exercises, awareness among public about various aspects of various disasters related to our state, particularly earthquake, cyclone, and flood. So that exercise is being done today. We will be conducting mock exercise for earthquake. So uh, uh, we will do our best, what all has been told. And from the state side, I assure you that wherever and whatever shortcomings are found, that would be addressed. The idea of this mock drill exercise is to be prepared for any actual exercise and any actual disaster that may take place. So keeping that in mind, you have to first assume that it is a real disaster which has taken place and how the concerned stakeholders will respond. So from that angle, all possible efforts would be taken. So with this, any query from any SDM and DM office, they can make. Our fire service director A.K. Bhattacharya, Anindya Bhattacharya was also there. If he has any comments, any suggestions, he can also make before we can close this session. Thank you. Anindya, are you there? His line got cut. But am I audible to all others?
Yes, yes, you're audible, Punitji. I can hear you. You can hear you.
Yeah, I think with this, we can proceed as per your guidance given for the tabletop exercise to be undertaken on 18th and then the main mock exercise to be undertaken on 20th.
Right. Thank you, Punitji, for your remarks. And of course, with your supervision and your support, I'm sure this mock exercise will be a very successful event. And the main aim is to learn and improve ourselves, and I'm sure we will achieve that collectively. So I look forward to now meeting you all in person, and on 17th I will be coming in, and that is where I think I can interact first with Sarajji in case there are any lingering doubts and points. On 17th afternoon I'll be there, and then from 18th onwards we will physically conduct the tabletop exercise and other events. So I wish the state and all participants all the best, and thank you for your time. And if there are any queries, etc., I am still available. My telephone number is there. Please feel free to contact. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Okay, thank you. Good.